We've learned how the article can turn a prepositional phrase into a noun, and here's two verses that really illustrate that well. This is in Jesus' final discourse about the end of time, and you have the, and then here's your preposition, on the housetop. So you have article plus prepositional phrase is the, and you got to supply a word to make sense in English. The one on the housetop, the person on the housetop. Not, now you got may, so you know you're not going to have an indicative form. Here's your imperative. Let not go down in order to gather up. And now here we get the same thing. Get an article, preposition, in the house of him, the in the house of him. But in this case, ta is neuter plural. Up here is masculine singular. So this is a person, and these are things. Now in the very next verse, you get the same thing. The in the field, so it's the person, masculine singular, so it's a person, man or woman, it wouldn't matter. And the one in the field, let not go back behind in order to pick up. Okay, here's a neuter singular, but in this case, it's not a prepositional phrase. It's just his coat. So the one who's on the housetop should not go down to gather up the things of his house. You know, things in his house is the idea. And the person in the field should not go back to pick up his garment. So a good example of how an article can turn a prepositional phrase into a noun. Now, the really interesting thing, I think, on this verse, or these two verses, is Jesus is answering the disciples' questions about the destruction of the temple and the end of time. If these verses are talking about the end of time, why would he say, don't go back into the house? If it's the end of time, what does it matter where you go? Well, it's the end of time. So what has happened in Matthew 24 is that Jesus has conflated in typical prophetic fashion two events. One was the destruction of Jerusalem, and the other is the end of time. And you have to be careful at how you take Jesus' instructions in Matthew 24 and how you're going to apply them. Does this refer to the destruction of Jerusalem, or does it refer to the end of time? Well, my approach on Matthew 24 is that there are signs warning people of the destruction of Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple, and that's what this applies to. And when they see the Romans coming, they get out of Dodge quickly, as we say. But this can't be about the end of time, because I think Jesus is clear that there are no signs as to when he's going to finally return. And frankly, as I said before, when he returns, why would you want to go back into the house to get the things in your house? Or why would you want to go pick up your coat? It's the end of time. Anyway, interesting couple of verses.